Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Women's Coffee Club. We created this club to provide a safe space for women to share and inspire each other. This morning, we're so fortunate to have Jodi Thomas, who will be presenting. What is your title, Jodi? Trust Your Femininity. That's the title. So, if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about your background and why you decided to choose that topic. Thank you, Jodi.
Good morning. Um, Trust your femininity. It just came to me one day. Like I was doing an exchange with a woman in something called stillness touch that I have been practicing for a very long time, and um, we ended and we were having a conversation about being women and about feeling our femininity, and she looked at me and she said, trust your femininity. And it hit me like as if she was like smacking me. I was like, oh, I think I don't know whether I have done that most of my life. I don't think I have trusted my femininity for most of my life. And it opened up this whole exploration for me of getting curious about like, oh, like what would it actually mean to trust my femininity, and what is my relationship with my femininity?
Yeah, that's awesome. So go ahead with your presentation. There'll be plenty of time for a Q&A at the very end. So Jodi, probably about 30 minutes or so, and then we'll just open it up for discussion and Q&A.
Okay,
Go
great.
ahead.
Um, so I was going to ask if anyone has any associations with, and not everybody has to respond, but if anyone has any particular associations with their ovaries, like do you have a relationship with your ovaries? Is there anything that you know about your ovaries or don't know? Like, do you feel particularly connected or not? Like, what do the women who are on the call here, what's your relationship with your ovaries?
Uh, do you mean, no, I actually never thought of that or don't know about it. I think of it as being that's where babies produce, but other than that, I really don't, not sure. So what about you, Teresa?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I don't think I have any type of relationship with that. I'm like thinking about the question as you ask, and I'm like, not really. I'm 53, and during COVID, I believe I went through my what do you call it when
Menopause?
yeah, going through the whole thing, I think, and yeah, but it was just like, oh, cool. Okay, I guess I'm going through that. And that was it. In 2020 was everybody was at home, everybody was doing their thing. So, and I was baking so much that time. So anyway, I was having a lot of cake. I was going through the hot flashes, and then it just kind of went away, and that was it. But I don't a relationship? No. I don't feel like I have a relationship. Yeah.
Tamara, were you going to say something or is that what you were trying to unmute? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, my screen froze there for a minute. So yeah, I never really thought about a relationship with my ovaries as well. So interesting concept.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept. Why is it that you're that's what I was wondering why you choose this topic and what that means. Oh, Val has I mean Victoria. Go ahead, Victoria.
Hey guys, I'm in construction right now, so I apologize for the decor. Um, Relationship with ovaries, I think the first time it got into my mind was when I was 7 years old. So going to school for the first year, learn how to write and all that. So reasoning factor, and my mom, I'm French originally. Um, my mom bought a book, a very illustrated book in black and white pictures of sexual education. And so at one point, I discovered that I had ovaries. And I love flowers. And there are like two little flowers on the side of each of our lower belly. And I found them that they were pretty and stuff, and I got very interested on how they work, how everything works, of
Right.
course. And to the point where I don't want to monopolize all this, but it's such a fun story because you're awakening on me. Do I know my ovaries? Yes, I think I do a little bit, but I'm curious about what you have to say,
It's
Jodi,
me.
for
How are
sure.
you?
Yeah. So fun topic. Let's do it.
So one of the reasons that I chose the ovaries in particular is one, I
Sorry,
feel like a lot of
I'm on
women do
Zoom.
a lot
ahead.
of women do not have a particular relationship with their ovaries, and also our ovaries are the seat of our creativity. It's, for me, it's kind of like the essence of our femininity, because that is where our creative power lies. And even though we think of them as like mainly, part of our reproductive um, system, which they are, a lot of the energy that is being produced in our ovaries is not going to reproduction. And so can we, connect to that and kind of like harness it for creativity in general in our lives? Like that's really where I'm focused.
Jodi, before you continue, Napoleon Hill's it says that sex drive is the strongest drive in human drive, and he's using sex. I think he call it sex transmutation, where you use the sexual drive as part of your driving force, like human motivation to do something. It's so strong. It's the strongest that's being used. That's what Napoleon Hill said.
Right. Well, if you think about creation in general, I mean, the essence of creating something new is creating a baby. However, like our creative center, our reproductive center can be used to create many things in life. Okay, so I'm gonna guide, I want to show you how to access your ovaries first, and then I'm gonna invite everybody to get into a comfortable position, whether you want to be sitting or laying down, have your cameras on and off, it's totally up to you. But I'm just gonna kneel so that you can see a little bit better what I want to guide here. So to find your ovaries, you're going to place, I'm gonna actually just do this so that you can see me better. Place your thumbs right on either side of your belly button, and then make a downward triangle with your hands so that your pointer fingers are also touching. And then wherever your little finger is there kind of lands, the end of your little finger, that's more or less where your ovaries are. And so I would just invite everybody to try that, like wherever you are, whether you want to be sitting, standing, um, and then I would invite you to just gently, I mean, it doesn't have to be an exact science here of touching them exactly, but I would just invite you to bring your hands onto that part of your body. Just to start, like just bring the pads of your fingers there and maybe close your eyes. And you can do this standing, lying down, sitting, kneeling. Make yourself comfortable so that you can really focus on pouring your love and attention into your ovaries. Maybe just make really small, gentle circles with the pads of your fingers in this area. And then relax and release your hands. Now I want you to get very comfortable wherever you are, and I'm going to guide an exploration into the ovaries. I'm actually going to invite you to start by bringing your attention to your perineum, which is the space between your vagina and the anus. And then from here, invite yourself to go on a journey. We're going to slowly bring our attention into the vaginal canal and go up and up and up until we reach the cervix of the womb or the uterus. Let yourself just linger here for a moment. Let yourself relax into the attentiveness to this part of your body. And then come up into the uterus. Take a few moments to breathe here. And then I'm going to invite you to notice which ovary feels more accessible to you right now. Is there one side or the other, your right ovary or your left ovary, that seems to be more accessible to your attention right now? And I'm going to invite you to go from the uterus through the fallopian tube or the uterine tube, and then come out and land on the outside of either your right or your left ovary. Your ovaries can be anywhere from the size of a kidney bean to the size of a small kiwi, depending on your age and many other factors. And I would invite you to direct your breath here. We're still kind of hanging out on the outside of the ovary for a moment. And then in a minute, I'm going to invite us to direct a hissing sound towards the ovary. So what that's going to look like is that we're going to take a deep inhale together. And then when we exhale, you're just going to let it out like a kind of a sound. And you're going to direct that sound into the ovary. Take a deep breath now. And when you finish letting all of your air out, just allow yourself to return to your natural breath rhythm. Notice if there's any feeling or any difference in that ovary where you were directing the hissing sound. And then allow yourself to bring your attention to the inside of the ovary. Journey to within this place, this space. And then in a moment here, I'm going to invite you to allow a sound to emanate from within your ovary. I'm going to place my mic on mute so that it's not distracting for you, because your sound will be different from everyone else's. So take one full deep breath here. Just allow the breath to cleanse any trepidations that you may have, any worries or feelings like, I don't know what sound my ovary makes. Just take a deep cleansing breath, one more, to let go of all of that. And invite the spontaneity, the creativity that lives in this seat of your body. Invite yourself to just slowly attune to and create a relationship with that creative, spontaneous energy. Take one more cleansing breath. And then I'm going to put my mic on mute for a moment, and I would invite you to take a deep breath in and then allow the sound to come out of your ovary. And then invite your breath to simply return to its natural rhythm. And notice what you notice. Invite yourself to be fully present with the sensations that are arising in the area of the ovary that you are focusing on right now. And then widen your focus a bit, so zoom out. And without leaving the inside of this ovary that you're in, just take a moment to see if maybe you can notice or have some awareness of the ovary on the other side of your body. And just notice any differences in awakeness, activation, sensations that you can perceive between the two ovaries. And then we're going to go on a little journey back into the fallopian tube from the side of the ovary that we're in, as if we were an ovum or an egg traveling from the ovary into the fallopian tube, traveling very slowly, maybe awakening or bringing the presence of our awareness into this fallopian tube as well. And coming back into the womb. And then as you feel ready, I would invite you to begin the journey through the fallopian tube up and to the other ovary. Very slowly, in no hurry whatsoever. And then once you reach the ovary on this side, let's start on the outside again. So just allow yourself to envelop the outside of the ovary with your awareness. And then take one deep cleansing breath. And then the next time you inhale, we're going to hiss into the outside of this ovary. Inhale now. And allow your breath to return to its natural rhythm. And then notice if you can meander and find your way to the inside of this ovary, where there are all kinds of folds and convolutions, and all of the eggs or ovums that you will ever have in your life are present when you are born. And then they go through a process of maturation within the ovary. And so on this side, I'm going to invite you to begin to get curious about the ovums. Ovum energy is circular. The eggs, they could care less whether they ever move from this cozy, nice place within the ovaries. They have no goal, no target, no hurry. It's a place of deep tranquility. And allow yourself to breathe from this tranquility of the ovums. Let your breath sink with this very calm, unhurried energy that's within this ovary that you are present with right now. Notice what happens in your body as you give yourself permission to slow down. What would it feel like to fully drop in to nothing to do, nowhere to go? And from this place, without altering your breath, without needing to take a deeper breath, see if there is any sound, and there may not be, it may just be still quietness. But give yourself several long, infinite moments to hold the curiosity. Is there a sound that may want to emanate from this space? Notice in this space, is there a symbol that may arise from this place that I can come back to, return to, when I'm having trouble accessing this ovum energy? Is there a symbol that I can remind myself that there's nothing to do, nowhere to go, and invite myself to approach all of my tasks in life from this space of openness and tranquility? Take a few more long, spacious moments to notice anything else that you notice. Perhaps zooming out a little bit and bringing your awareness into both of your ovaries. Inside of the ovaries, where there is an abundance of ovums, an abundance of symbols representing our capacity as women to come back to this space of openness, to return to this place of tranquility, from which an abundance of creativity can simply emerge without trying, without forcing, and without holding back. Very slowly, in no hurry, begin the journey now from both ovaries. Imagine you're being emitted from the ovary out into the space where you can come into the fallopian tube. Imagine yourself playfully and sensually rolling down the fallopian tube towards the womb. Then coming into the womb, the warmth, the comfort, the nourishment. And then with all of this tranquility, with all of this creative energy, life force, as you feel ready, come out through the vagina as if this new energy was being birthed as something that is now accessible to you into your world. And then allow your attention to notice your breath as it is right now. No need to change it. And then as you feel ready, slowly, slowly begin to open your eyes, allowing shapes and colors into your awareness and back into our shared space. With no hurry whatsoever, I'm just going to open the space for any sharing of your experience, any questions, anything that wants to be shared.
So Jodi, are we doing the feedback right now?
Yeah, whenever anyone is ready to share, please.
Go ahead, Tamara.
Well, I thought it was a very relaxing segment. And I realized that I would distract myself with my thoughts, and then your voice would come back on, and oh yeah, come back to my where I was. So learning how to keep my mind focused on one thing. So that was a very good awareness, and I think I found some blocks that I've been having that I was able to move through. So that was very helpful. So thank you.
So basically, this is a form of meditation, um, channeling your creative energy from your ovaries. Is that what Jodi, the purpose here?
You could call it a form of meditation. Also, you could refer to it as somatics, which is it's a broad field of. Sometimes we refer to it as embodied anatomy or experiential anatomy. It's really focusing on coming back into the body and awakening the cellular consciousness in different areas of the body that we maybe have kind of dissociated from or disconnected from or just kind of like not focusing on. And then that, of course, has a connection and a relationship to the mind because every part of our body has different channels with the mind. And so when we awaken different parts of the body, the mental connections and the neurons are shifting as well.
Very interesting. Teresa, what was your experience?
Yeah, that was definitely super different. I've never done that before, and it was really, really cool. I really liked it. Focusing on, taking the actual trip, the way you walked us through the trip. That was pretty amazing. Really different. I've never really, like I said, thought of my ovaries, but right now I'm like so aware they're there. So that was super, super awesome. I really like that. And just the fact of like, yes, you're focusing on the ovaries and the trip. You took us to the whole trip. Like I could picture myself taking that trip. It was really awesome. I really liked it. Thank you so much.
Victoria, thank you, Teresa. Victoria, do you have any comments? I know she's doing some work. I don't know if maybe we'll go to Omex. Oh, here she's.
Yes, I love everything that is that has the purpose to go within the body, and I like the way um I didn't catch who was talking, but I heard the word trip. It was a real trip. Yes, thank you so much for the experience. I totally agree.
Thank you, Victoria. Omeka, do you have any comments, feedback? Omeka, you there?
Yeah, pushing buttons. I'm here. I'm totally distracted today. I realized that I really need to go back and listen to the replay and tune in because I'm like ovaries. I'm like, yeah, right. It's just certain things that we need to learn when we're little kids about our body parts and what does what and why and how we're connected. We don't just have a nose and a leg. There's things that are connected, and I was barely paying attention because I was walking around and helping my mother and doing things, but dealing with the plants. It was like someone else said, very calming and very I still felt connected to my body in a different kind of way, and definitely to your voice and to everyone here. So I thank you. Yeah, and just getting in touch with my femininity and my womanhood. It's a beautiful thought and beingness. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, America. Just never thought of it that way, Jodi. Is this something that you practice different parts of your body as part of a way to tap into, like you said, that different parts of your body has different function,
Yeah,
different energy?
each of the different systems in the body has what we refer to as a mind, which essentially means like a specific kind of energetic. So like you could just go into the bones, and even in the bones, there's like three parts to the bones that each have their own energetic. You could go into the system of organs as a whole, which does include the reproductive organs, has a specific mind, but then if you go into the reproductive organs, it's different, or if you go into the heart, it's different. Um, you can go into the skin, like literally any part of your body has like a different energetic that will then allow you to tap into that in different ways in your everyday life. Like for me, what I love so much about this is the metaphor of like, as I learn more about my body and experience more of my body, I can come into and engage with the world in a very different way.
Yeah, it is kind of like a metaphor because like I thought of it as being how we take things for granted. Um, this is our body that I never really thought of it in that way before until today. You're guiding us through this process. But I was thinking even our environment, even like the sun, just the little thing, the rain, the nature. Um, if you think about it, like each thing that's giving us, even the oxygen or whatever that's giving us life, we take it for granted that we're not appreciating, or because it's there, it's always there. Like our body, we take it for granted. And then if you lose just a part of your body, your limb or whatever, then, or even your sense of like smell, your hearing, the different parts. I mean, it was just kind of related me to how we take things for granted and we never really appreciate and use those as like, really gratitude.
Well, and I mean, a lot of people wait until there's a symptom of something, and the symptom, like when your body starts having pain or any other variety of symptoms, that's kind of like the body's last ditch effort to like scream, like, pay attention to me. And so for me, it's like, it's almost like a preventative, like if I awaken the parts of my body and if I pay attention to them before they start screaming at me, I mean, it doesn't mean that I will never have pain. It doesn't mean I will never have, symptoms or illness, but it has helped me to navigate all of that a lot more gracefully.
Yeah, this is part of like an awareness, consciousness process. That's how I see this, right? Anybody else want to chime in? I know Tamara, you have your unmute your go ahead.
Yeah. As we're having this conversation, it reminded me, well, two things. It reminded me of Joe Dispenza's heart receptors. Our body has all of this memory in all of our organs, and we're still learning so much about it, but in the heart specifically is what he was talking about. It has these memories of things, and how he proved it was there was a little girl who had a heart transplant, and after she had the heart transplant, she woke up and she wanted like fried food and a beer, like and her mom's like, you don't ever drink, or she was like in her teens, 18 I think. And anyway, so his heart, she found out later that that guy that had passed away, that's what he did. He would eat fried foods and drink beer, and so that she was craving that. So our organs obviously have memory. And if we're able to go and tap into that memory like that, then I could see that power being drawn out of us, because we do have everything we need in our lives, in our bodies, in our minds, if we can tap into it. And this is a great way to tap into it. And the second thing I wanted to say was, Omeka was talking about learning this as a child. And while I was meditating doing this, I thought this would be great for teenagers. Like, you know, they have the sex ed stuff, you know, what about sexual health in schools for teenagers, that they can actually become one with their ovaries and these things that we don't see. And that would be an amazing awakening for our student population. Just a thought.
Thank you, Tamara. And just to respond, the first thing that you said, for me, this is very much about connecting body and spirit. Like a lot of people, their spiritual practice is like up and out, like the transcendental meditation and these kinds of things. For me, that's the first part of the process. Like when people talk about Kundalini arising, like, yes, going up, like that's the first part of the process. But then actually to continue in your spiritual engagement, it actually comes back down and into the body. And when we can suffuse all of our cells with the love of divinity, of spirit, and we have that marriage between spirit and matter, like that for me is where I want to be in my life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're so unaware. Like we only notice things that are outside of ourselves, that it's not, we don't even think about it. Victoria, go ahead.
Actually, I remember this little anecdote as far as parental education on sexual education, and having that basically taught in school as part of understanding who we are as human beings, period. Just like biology and physics and you name it, we are creations. And my teacher, once I discovered that with the book that my mom bought me, about 3 years after, because our teacher followed us for 4 years in those young age. And 3 years after, we were assigned sometimes to do a survey, what we would call a survey. And this was more like a presentation, basically, on a topic that was dear to us. So I had a friend of mine, a little boy, who wanted to do something on insects. So we did a whole presentation on insects, and then, different topics, whatever was in the mind of the kid. And of course, having learned, sexual education, I'm like, I have to share that with my friends, you know. And so I talked to my teacher. I had a very open-minded teacher who said, I think that's a great idea that my students, know about. And so I prepared something from the book, and I, that is to say, those decal paper that you can see through, but you can draw the line to follow a certain pattern. Well, I took my book where there was the vagina and the ovaries, and I can say also the penis, because that's the other side. And I would put the decal paper and draw. So I drew the whole reproductive system. And when I presented that to my teacher, she was like, wow, you're really into this, maybe you want to be a doctor or something. And the thing about it is, although all the students were all interested in that because it was about us, and the teacher was very much willing of doing so, I did the presentation. I had a lot of success about it among my friends, and they told their parents, you know what happened today? We learned how to make babies. We learned who we are. And one parent made, just one out of, I think we were like 20 students. One parent made a fuss and almost sued the school that this was an intimate subject and only parents, are allowed to teach those kind of things. And anyways, to underage, because we were obviously underage. So it's a delicate subject, especially I think in America. That was
Very,
my take
yeah.
on it. But yeah, I think if the parents then on at home, once they see their teenager having certain behaviors, I think to have a normal understanding conversation. I don't have children, so I apologize. I'm not a mom, never been. But if I were in you guys' shoes, if I were in those shoes of being a mom, I would try to have, a normal conversation about it, and to like, oh, now that you're a teenager, this is how we feel. I went through it. That went through it. We all go through it. So you might just know now. I don't know.
Well, sex has been such a taboo subject.
Oh,
Some you know, environment. Teresa,
yeah.
what are your thoughts?
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I really enjoyed this the teaching and you taking us on that trip. And yeah, I never really thought about all of this. This was definitely something new for me. Even as a child, our mom, we're Latinas, and she was very secretive about it. There was not a lot of teaching about it. It was just kind of like you just learned as you go. Something happened. Oh, mom, this is happening. Okay, this is what you need to do. But there was no talk, no preparation, no guidance, and it was just the way they were raised, where it was very private, very secretive. Nowadays, it's more open. I was very open with my boys. I have two boys. I didn't have girls, but I totally, I would be so open to teach them if I had girls, everything that they need to know ahead of time, so that they could be confident and love their bodies and know what's happening or what could happen ahead of time. But yeah, I didn't know, as I grew up, I just learned as we went and asked mom what happening. So yeah, that was not a teaching that I experienced as a little girl. So this was definitely, definitely something very cool. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's just different, something we're not normally exposed. But
Exactly.
yeah, so it's almost 8 o'clock. So we're gonna end this. I'm gonna give it back to you, Jodi. But I was just gonna say next week, um, Dr. Janet Fair is going to be presenting embracing shadow work. That's a topic for next week. But with that, Jodi, thank you so much for leading us into that. I call it meditation. I don't know what you call it. But it's very interesting. It's different. So I'm gonna give it back to you to close this out. So thank you again, Jodi.
Yeah, thank you. It's beautiful to hear the feedback from people. It's been an amazing journey for me in my life. I've been exploring this for over a decade now, and whenever I can share with people, with women, it's a beautiful experience for me as well. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, with that, Jodi, really appreciate your leading us, guiding us into this exercise today. And for all of you, thank you for your participation and contribution. And have a great day, great week, great weekend, and we'll see you all next week. Thanks again.
Thank
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Jodi. Thank you, Rini. Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye.
Thank you.